Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIII. We've had a bit of a switch up. Now Saz is our Ravager instead of Snow, and he's not quite as good. Well, actually, no, that's not true, because Snow is a pretty terrible Ravager, but still. Saz has problems, but I'll get to that later. Anyways, try as you might, you can't go back and help Snow, no matter how much of a change of heart you might have had. I think I just got lost in Final Fantasy XIII. That's sad. Here we go.
Maybe we shouldn't have left him on his own.
Well, gee, Vanille, maybe if they'd let us go back, that would have been a thing. Or we could have gone back and helped him. Gameplay, story, segregation. And more brush and bass. Pro tip, if there's a secret path, just look on the map and you're set.
I hope Snow's okay.
You know, if this game had actual choices, those would be hints telling you that you should go back to help Snow. I don't know why, but I like these little tube things for some reason, but I realized that this place is only traversable because of very conveniently placed rubble. It's kind of strange. Like if this hadn't gotten caught in the crystal and instead like fallen over or something, they'd be screwed. But hey, what do I know? Maybe the fal'cie did it or something. Sarah did it, of course. There we go. Yes.
Okay, do not shake the slippery tube. We cool on this? Do not shake the slippery tube.
I like how he says this, and then he pushes past
Sorry,
me.
look down. You should close your eyes.
And like this, that's not a matter of running speed. They're just running faster than you can possibly go. Anyways, down here, it's a new enemy. The bloodbaths. They're kind of like blood fang bass. And they're just like regular brushing bass, except they have more HP. Maybe they have the ability to absorb HP, and it's a possibility, maybe, but they go down way too fast for me to tell. They just have very slightly more HP. And they give more XP, I guess, so yeah. Not really that noteworthy. I'm not even sure why they bothered having a brand new type of enemy that's literally just a slight recolor. And by the way, if you don't like recolors, well, you might want to start getting used to them, because that's the bulk of this game's enemies. See, modeling in HD, you can't really have that much variety. Well, except these environments are all completely organic. They couldn't cut costs there, I guess, but meanwhile, pretty much every enemy is a recolor. It's kind of a shame.
Still couldn't
They do a pretty good job with it, though.
You'll never get past this if you don't say something.
Words won't change anything.
I like to imagine Lightning's just listening, but
You'll learn exactly how I feel.
apparently she just doesn't really get what's going on. You know, these conversations really are not terribly well thought of. The ones that you hear on the field, it doesn't really have any bearing on the cutscenes usually. It's kind of a shame. Oh boy, it's time for a brand new puzzle coming soon. kind of weird. The footsteps, I just noticed, they sound exactly the same on Crystal as they do on this bridge metal thing.
Dead end, huh?
Hey! Lightning! Over here!
This thing's a wreck. I don't think we can use it.
Pessimist. But yeah, that is pretty realistic. He's depressed, so he's like, it won't work. Life is pain. Yeah.
Hey, can we use that to get out of here?
Looks operational.
Perfect logic. Just slash it with your sword. That makes it work. Would have been awkward if it had just broken or snapped off or something. And now you fight a giant swarm of bass. Just word of warning, keep an eye on your health during that because they will chip it off like it's nothing. Where'd all the rubble go? Something I forgot to mention, I won't be showing off getting CP, like putting it into levels and stuff like that. But what I'm doing is every time I reach a save point, I'm leveling up my characters. And now it's time for another boss battle. It's a slightly more powerful behemoth. And yeah, new ability thanks to the sea powers. You have the ability to immediately discern the strengths, weaknesses, and attack patterns of any enemy you fight. That's quite a power. Anyways, Alpha Behemoth. They work slightly different than the previous ones. They will charge up power. That's it. There's nothing else to it. It just attacks you. Like, we're not going to see any like cool bosses with cool strategies until late. Oh no, it's at 90% power. And as of probably the highest stagger threshold that you actually can achieve so far. Behemoths tend to have very high stagger thresholds, but once you get there, you're pretty much golden if you haven't already beaten it. That's kind of the problem with staggers, is that they don't really scale terribly well with your actual physical strength, so as a rule, the more powerful you get, the more likely you are to beat the enemy before you can actually stagger them.
Look at that. There's 7.
But the problem is that not staggering an enemy can have a lot of problems with the actual fight. So yeah.
Ships like that.
Now, a Libra scope actually is worth mentioning. They work exactly like the spell Libra, which you can use to discern enemies' abilities, but it works on every enemy that you're fighting. So very handy actually, especially if you're fighting a boss with multiple segments or something. So just keep that in mind. That looks such look at the impracticability of that design. That's like the least aerodynamic ship I've ever seen.
They must be hunting down Purge survivors.
I hope everyone made it out okay.
So do I. But nowhere.
This is really starting to, like, everyone's gonna make it out. Like,
Damn it.
how many people survived this? Jeez, these really are terrible soldiers if that's the survival rate of civilians.
People really hate Pulse, don't they?
Not hate. More like fear. Tens of millions of people. All scared of Pulse boogeymen. They'd be shaking in their beds every night if they knew. and the
So,
like us.
themes.
But
About
they purged
unknown
that entire
enemies
town.
and
It's crazy,
government
I
using
know.
fear and blah blah blah.
The Sanctum fal'cie did nothing to stop it. Up until now, Eden's always stepped in to correct their errors in judgment. Guess humans aren't worth the effort. Figure they'll let us just kill each other off.
fal'cie are not human.
Listen, you, that's enough.
I don't really get how having superpowers makes you not human. It's not like they're anything different. And if they are turned into another species, I don't know, I don't know.
We're still alive. That's something.
I think that was a nice breath of optimism against all these cynics and, well, Lightning's sort of an ass, but anyways.
They're sealing off the area. They're trying to trap the stragglers. We gotta get moving before we're caught in the net.
Okay, we better get moving then. See you next time on Final Fantasy XIII.